The upcoming Fallout TV show is a very interesting situation. On one hand, if it's good, we win because it's good. But on the other hand, if it's bad, we still win because it's bad and we can make fun of it.
Right now is CCXP, a Comic-Con experience in Brazil, and the Fallout TV show is here with an absolutely massive presence. They built an entire vault that you're able to check out. Within are a bunch of props from the show and even some fully explorable locations that have been rebuilt. In addition, some panels were hosted sharing new details on the Fallout TV show and even how this is kind of like a Fallout 5, which of course I'll go over all of that and many of the new details in this video.
Now, admittedly, I don't think this is a problem that's a Fallout 5. And there are a lot of red flags currently about this TV show. A lot of people are very, what's going to happen. Because, well, one, it's made by Amazon. And, well, the last thing Amazon did was Rings of Power. And that was probably one of the worst things that has ever happened to humanity. Right there next to She-Hulk. So, the expectancy's kind of low. Second of all, the Fallout lore, what lore exactly? Fallout lore has been absolutely not even close to being consistent after Fallout 1 and 2. Around Fallout 1, civilization was kind of getting back together. Fallout 2, people were making new houses. They were not living in old shacks of rotten wood. And then 100, 200 years later in the Fallout series, everything is even worse than then. It makes no sense, first of all. And the second big thing is, well, let's be real. It's Amazon, and we know that one of the main protagonists is gonna be a woman from Vault 33. And that's a giant red flag for a lot of people. Now, I personally don't really care if it's a woman protagonist. You know, there's a lot of movies, a lot of things where it works out fine and it's really good. But it is Amazon, and we are currently living in a very woke timeline. And so, I don't blame anyone who's looking at this and saying, made by Amazon woman protagonist, that's gonna be bad. I completely understand and do not blame anyone who thinks like that, because Amazon has a track record of doing it very poorly.
But we also got the first official trailer for the Fallout TV show that has a ton of secrets and interesting references within. The first look we get from the trailer is just this nice panning shot of Vault 33.
This looks pretty good, not gonna lie. This looks like a pretty good vault. They nailed the vault aesthetics, not gonna lie. Not bad.
Is just this nice panning shot of Vault 33. This is going to be the vault our main protagonist comes from, but something I think many are missing is just how ridiculously accurate to Fallout 4 this is. Like, if we compare this to the game, and even a pretty imperfect comparison location in-game, the piping is almost identical, down to those blue pipes off to the side being the same, the brackets have the same two bolts with a divider in the middle design, and the walls are the same, even down to including these little half dividers on the ceiling, just like they are in game. It's actually insane how many details were included, but at least in this trailer we're not—
That's good. The more details they include, the happier I'm gonna get.
On the vault for that long, as the next shots are around opening the vault door, and this is just moments before disaster. This is Lucy. She's a female vault dweller and is going to be played by Ella Purnell. She's one of the main characters of this show, but we do know that Lucy is out due to some crisis. So something happens that forces her to venture outside of the vault on a rescue mission. In some other promo images, we have seen Lucy's dad. He's the Vault 33 overseer, so I wouldn't be shocked if we're getting a very familiar Fallout story where Lucy's venturing out of the vault to save her dad, perhaps chase—
So, this, by the way, puts to rest the speculation that she is not just randomly trying to escape the vault for no reason, that this is planned. Because of the body that you can see at the start there, you can see a body roughly right where my arm is. We thought that initially that she's making a run out of the vault for some reason, but seemingly that's not the thing.
After him, or more—
Which is good.
Likely just getting some kind of medicine while he's locked inside the vault. The people next to Lucy are also notable though. This is very likely to be her brother. He was described in a previous article as just being inquisitive, but as of right now we don't even know his name. As well as the person actually opening the vault door is unknown, but he's not long for this world anyway. As in these following scenes, we can see Lucy escaping, and it does very much so seem like the rest of the vault is against her leaving. Somebody yells for Lucy to stop. Unfortunately—
Yeah, this doesn't make sense, but that's fine. I mean, okay, so if she's not escaping, how is this backpack not a red flag for literally everyone in the vault that currently sees her approaching? She has camping gear out, and she's at the vault door. I wonder what she's doing. And then it's the fact that this guy is this guy potentially gets knocked out by her or something, which is, we know that that's not good.
But he's not long for this world anyway, as in these following scenes we can see Lucy escaping, and it does very much so seem like the rest of the vault is against her leaving. Somebody yells for Lucy to...
Yeah, he hears a body, so what are we supposed to think? That probably 18-ish year old girl took out a grown man? That's a bad start. Again, it's completely understandable that people are very, very precautious about what they're seeing with all the stuff shown so far.
To stop. Unfortunately, I can't play the audio for most of the trailer due to copyright, but before running outside, we can see Lucy's lip is also bloodied here, and whoever opened the door is now on the ground. And while Lucy's brother was on board at first, it seems like whatever just happened got him cowering with the others. So between getting to the vault door and opening it, something clearly happened here. But what I found even more interesting is how these vault dwellers react to what's going on. They yell for Lucy to stop, but you'll notice one person immediately run off to the side, and the door is actually closing behind Lucy as she's exiting. It doesn't really seem like anyone's trying to physically stop her from leaving, and instead it seems like everyone's biggest fear is the door being open and what may lay outside. Because it has been described that this is the first time Vault 33's door has opened ever. The inhabitants are likely unaware of whatever is going on with the outside world right now, and this vault has been
Looks pretty good.
Sealed for over 200 years.
The Rad Roach looked pretty good also.
Definitely see that surprise and shock that LA looks so different reflected on Lucy's face here. And all of this is made even funnier by the fact that just minutes earlier, Lucy talked about how living in a vault was only a relatively comfortable life. I don't think she realized just how bad things were on the outside. Here we get a look at Santa Monica with the iconic Santa Monica Pier. There's been lots of speculation that Vault 33 is located right near this location. And we do know that the broader show is going to be taking place in Los Angeles. Santa Monica is just outside of LA. Here you can see someone, likely Lucy, walking around off to the side.
Wait, so what they're trying to tell us is that LA did not get hit by a bomb, that this is just the natural end of LA. Got it.
And something to note is Santa Monica almost looks like it was reinforced for an invasion. These very much so look like man-made trenches that troops would be...
Yeah, this looks like some kind of, garrison.
...stationed in, and that makes a lot of sense. When the bombs dropped, the world was at war, and protecting the west coast of the US would have likely been a major priority. And they honestly did a great job at recreating the vast waste of the west coast. It literally looks like Fallout New Vegas out there, and perhaps even California itself in just a few more years. With Lucy getting scared by a tumbleweed just being...
He knows. Juicehead knows. What a man. What a man.
The clearest picture of how unprepared she actually is for this adventure, and we get several shots of Lucy just wandering through the wastes alone. I wouldn't be shocked if in the very first episode there's a lot of focus on her as an explanation for the world. All of what she's encountering is new for her as the character, but it's also going to of course be new to us as viewers, so it'll be a natural avenue to explain the world to us through Lucy's curious and concerned eyes. But eventually we do start to meet some other people, like this creepy dude in red. We can see Dogmeat devouring a Rad Roach here, and I do wonder if at this point we are at some kind of settlement, and perhaps have even already met up with the Ghoul.
The guy's gonna be a cannibal. Okay, I can already tell you how generic this opening is. She comes out, a rando badman appears, and guess what? He's a badman. Yeah, he's a badman. And then he tries to kill her and she gets saved by Mr. Ghoulie Boy or someone else. And that's how she understands, oh, the world's pretty dangerous, turns out. Who would have expected this?
With the Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins. Earlier today, we also got a variety of character images for each of the major characters in the show, and the Ghoul was always featured near Dogmeat, so perhaps in this scene, the Ghoul is just somewhere off camera. But after Lucy and the Ghoul, the third major character here is Maximus, played by Aaron Moten.
Also, do you recognize the actor here? Dude, there is not a single movie, a single series where this guy, I think I know, I think this is that guy. he's lost the leader of the others. You know, but there's not. If that's this, I can't tell from the lighting. The face kind of seems a little bit off. Maybe it's not him. But if it's that guy, there's not a single thing that he's in that he's not the bad guy.
Is just somewhere off camera. But after Lucy and the effectively the lowest rank on the Brotherhood totem pole. A lot of times, scribes can't even really go into combat. We get these beautiful panning shots of the Brotherhood taking off from a military base, and once again, the vertibird here is almost identical to the one featured in Fallout 4. We can see Maximus himself
Oh, it's actually better, but that's okay.
riding the vertibird along with his buddy in power armor. The power armor used for the show is practical. They actually built these suits, and of course these two are incredibly faithful to the games. And these scenes overall do seem to suggest that the Brotherhood is...
By the way, okay, so there's some people were trying to tell me last time we talked about this show that this show is, oh my god, it's so accurate to the lore. Bullshit, it's not accurate to the lore at all. Watch this. Watch this.
And of course these
Look at this.
two are
Dude, his head is just wobbling every time the vertibird makes a move. Okay, his head is wobbling. Fallout power armor is supposed to make you a literal walking tank. Guess what happens when your head wobbles and you get hit by a missile? You die. Very much so without any exceptions. If your head wobbles like this. Now, if you would get hit by a, rocket in a tin can like this, you would be dead anyway, honestly. But the fact that his head is wobbling, nah, this is not a walk-in tank. No. This is a dude LARPing.
incredibly faithful to the games. And these scenes overall do seem to suggest that the Brotherhood of Steel have gained significant power since we last saw them on the West Coast. The Fallout TV show is the latest piece of Fallout media. It's taking place 9 years after Fallout 4 and 15 years after New Vegas. When we leave off with the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel, they're pushed underground as a result of the losses they took during their ongoing war with the NCR. And while it does appear that this is some kind of underground military base, it definitely seems like the Brotherhood have far more resources and power now, and perhaps even won the war. At the end of Fallout New Vegas, their war is ongoing, but here, clearly the Brotherhood have evolved. We'll see it a bit more later on with some of the other Maximus scenes, but it's described how the show is very much so going to be an ensemble. These three major characters with Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul are separated, but eventually will come together. But it really looks like we are going to be getting a healthy amount of content from each.
Oh my god, look at this. This has more gore in it than Starfield. Or, probably anything else that Bethesda's gonna ever do.
Be getting a healthy amount of content from each of their individual perspectives. And Jonathan Nolan, the executive producer on the show, actually likened this nature of the TV series to the RPG nature of the Fallout games. It's a very different mode of storytelling. One of the things I'm most excited about is telling an ensemble story and it coming as it is from these three perspectives. It was, to me, kind of a brilliant hack for how you present that role-playing game mechanic of the games, which is that you, as the Vault Dweller, can be anyone. They can look like anyone and they can make any choice they want, which is not a luxury you can afford the audience when you're telling them a linear story. And they describe how this also lets you explore not only different environments and areas with each of the different character perspectives, but also their own morality and how they handle the gray areas of the world. So we will get a look at how these three different characters will make different moral choices, just like we would as various different characters in the...
So all of that sounds good, and honestly, looking at this, yeah, I'm kind of understandably hyped. I think it's good, but again, it's just a trailer, and it could be a disaster. That's like the thing. That's what makes me very, very. I want this thing to succeed because a good Fallout TV series show would be amazing. But again, it's like, okay. So, the world explosions, people shooty booty is all fine, dandy, and whatnot, but you need to remember one thing about the trailers. The trailers for everything and anything are gonna only show you the most peak, best parts on average. So, what this essentially means, oh, by the way, our girlfriend is saving a child from nuclear devastation. That's probably his motivation for being a good guy. Who knows? But, in any case, here we also have a Yogwai ripping apart someone in power armor, which is kind of hilarious, but okay. Oh, man. And, honestly, for example, the Brotherhood base, it looks like the desert. It doesn't look like it's Fallout,
characters will make different moral choices, just like we would as various different characters in the game world. Next up, we do have a nice montage.
Yeah, but the moral choices are like the serious issue here, right? Because who believes that a modern day TV show is gonna present us with moral choices or hard choices in the first place? This is probably going to be as lukewarm as it actually can be. There's not going to be a do you blow up Megaton type of situation. There's probably not going to be any of that. There's probably going to be like, oh, visibly bad guys, do we go away or help the visibly good guys? Is the Brotherhood of Steel gonna pepper you with bullets? And yes, bullets, because they're not using laser rifles in this one. Which is not lore accurate, by the way. But, you know, I actually am okay with them changing it for the show, because, let's be real, laser rifles probably would be pretty lame unless they do the disintegration effects. So, you know.
The vault itself looks phenomenal. Their crops seem to be doing incredibly well, but unfortunately, the vault is also in complete chaos. And it looks like the regular, fully suited vault dwellers are fighting with partially unclothed vault dwellers, who seem to be somewhat losing their mind. Several people, perhaps vault security members, have actually drawn weapons.
Yep.
And right in the center of the scene, you can see that character from the previous shot. And as of right now, we don't really know why this is happening, but there are several potential explanations for what exactly is going on here. To me, it definitely looks unnatural, like this is either an experiment or chems, perhaps as part of Vault 33's vault experiment, or maybe just some inhabitants got into the chem supply and are now trying to take over. You have to imagine somebody just leaving the vault for the first time in
Dude, there is absolutely no way that they're gonna have things like Psycho in the game, okay? Because, you know, those all of the Fallout chems are just allegories for real life things.
hundreds of years would cause quite a bit of drama for those stuck inside. Here we get a shot of Lucy entering the scavenger town known as Philly. This isn't Philadelphia though. You can actually see the crumbling Los Angeles in the background.
Also, this is probably gonna happen while she's escaping. That is my prediction. Because if they screw this up, I'm gonna be so pissed. One of the best things about the Fallout games is leaving the vault, then returning to the vault at some point, and finding out that a lot has changed while you were not there. So this could maybe be a flashback. But I think this is most likely the start, because chances are they're not gonna come back to the vault.
And we have seen some set photos of Philly from different angles, and it appears like this is really going to be one of those quintessential Fallout towns, with many comparing it to Megaton. But then we get a more proper look at the Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins. In the show, this character is literally going to be named the Ghoul, and if he looks a bit under-ghoulified, that is intentional. It's described how something happened during his ghoulification, making him slightly less of a ghoul, but really they just wanted you to be able to recognize Walton Goggins. They didn't want to over-ghoulify him, and it would just be...
The explanation's probably gonna be, oh, he got hit in the blast, but it wasn't like a full dose of radiation, so that's why he's not ghoul.
Any old actor. It seems like Walton Goggins is also going to be in Philly, based off the supply sign in the background being the same. And it also looks like he has a lever action shotgun or rifle on his back, which I know many Fallout fans will be happy about. Here we can see Lucy approaching some settlement with her weapon drawn. This guy has a very interesting outfit. I hope they add this one to Fallout 76 also. Right now in Fallout 76, you could actually claim a Vault 33 vault suit if you'd like to. And I absolutely love the design of Philly overall. It is a bit sad to see it getting so destroyed, but even this little workbench just looks like it's straight out of Fallout. But then cutting to something a bit more notable, we have the eye scene. And I found this one to also be incredibly interesting. We have someone who may be the Vault Overseer with only one central Cyclops eye, and Lucy is sitting across from them talking. Considering we know Lucy's dad is the Vault 33 Overseer, and of course not actually this person.
So this is an open vault.
I think this may be Vault 32. From some past set photos, we have seen there's going to both be a Vault 33 and a Vault 32. And I wouldn't be shocked if perhaps Vault 32's experiment could be some kind of eye procedure or mutation. I wouldn't be shocked if this is quite a bit later in the story and Lucy just entered another vault. And some other set photos, we have seen Maximus arriving at some place known as Hawthorne Labs. It's a new Vault Tech subsidiary, so perhaps during the TV show they'll really dive into what kind of medical experiments or mutations Vault Tech was running.
Wasn't there something about Hawthorne Labs and Fallout 76 lore? Slight mention or something like that?
Some of these vaults. And I feel like this may be one of the most accurate scenes in the show thus far. This is exactly how accurate the turrets I build at my settlements are. But it also is pretty curious, because once again we are elsewhere. We have what looks like dog meat and a doctor or scientist in some kind of military installation, but it's covered in snow. Considering we're 219 years after the bombs dropping, I can't imagine it's snowing anywhere near Los Angeles, where the rest of the show is taking place. So perhaps this is some kind of flashback scene, or even just a cut to a different part of the United States. Despite most of the show taking place in LA, it definitely seems like we'll have a healthy number of scenes that are in surrounding areas. There's not a ton.
I mean, there's no problem with making a flashback of a different location.
To break down for this one, I'm guessing this is a scene within the dairy fresh plant, and we have a very familiar Fallout moment of entering into an old building and only finding the Mr. Handy still operating. And finally, we have Lucy's dad, the Vault 33 overseer, and I think whatever is happening here is what eventually leads Lucy out into the waste. It definitely looks like he is behind some kind of enclosed area, whether this be a medical bay or perhaps he's escaping the vault right now. But this exchange seems like it's occurring while they're both under duress. Here we have our first good look at Maximus, finding him in the midst of chaos. It seems like he's getting hit by artillery out in the waste with some other members of the Brotherhood of Steel. And you can even see their vertibird taking off in the background. It looks like Maximus is holding the classic 10mm revolver from some of the older Fallout games, while the Brotherhood Knight here has that ugly Fallout 4 assault rifle. And perhaps the most relatable scene yet, we have a bear taking down our power armored knights. I think anyone who's played Fallout 4 in survival mode, and if you haven't, you absolutely should, but you'll almost certainly experience this exact same thing in game. And overall, I'm just really curious to know what's going on here.
Who uses powered armor? Oh, actually, a lot of people use powered armor in Fallout 4. 76, a lot of people don't use powered armor. But Fallout 4 was bad for the reason that it actually forced you to wear powered armor. Otherwise, congratulations, one Molotov is literally gonna end you.
It seems like we're in a bit of a different locale, at least from where those vertibirds took off from. So perhaps just another part of California or one of the surrounding states. But also, I can't imagine there are many forces out in the waste that can easily beat several fully equipped Brotherhood Knights. So perhaps we are seeing one side of an engagement with the Ensemble.
Also, I just want to mention that I really need them to explain how and why civilization has not returned to flourishing. Because this is a fully functioning forest. Look at this. It's a forest. It works. It's the bare minimum 100 years after the bombs fell. How has civilization not returned to a reasonable degree? I need explanations for that, because that's constantly just destroying my Fallout experience. Dude, 100 years later and the greenery has not returned? Bruh, forests would be flourishing after a nuclear disaster like, what, 20, 30, 40 years? After the bombs would destroy the world? Yeah, pretty easy.
CR here. And I think this scene may be the biggest reveal yet. We see someone, perhaps Lucy, running to a distant settlement with...
Is that a Guardian of Eden kit?
A briefcase, and this briefcase looks suspiciously like a GEC. The Garden of Eden creation kit is most notably used in Fallout 3 to finish Project Purity and grant clean water to the waste.
I don't know, if you see a briefcase in Fallout, that's probably it.
But in general, the Garden of Eden creation kit was designed to transform the nuclear wasteland into a flourishing area ripe for settling. So naturally, it would be incredibly powerful in this specific environment. We heard how the core plot of the Fallout TV show is around chasing an artifact that has the potential to radically change the power dynamic in this world, and
Yep, sounds like that, exactly.
Would it be shocked if that artifact is this GEC? Or, you know, maybe it's just a briefcase with some random stuff in it. This coastal shot of a creature looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's definitely
that's pretty cool.
One of my favorite shots from the trailer, although I think we're finally getting a look at a totally new creature. This thing very closely resembles a gulper from Fallout 4, but the color is wrong, as well as it has these little things that pop up behind its neck that are just completely wrong for a gulper. So I think we're seeing a mutated axolotl, and I didn't even bother to look up how to pronounce that, so it was almost certainly wrong.
Yeah, I also thought the same thing. I had no idea what it's called, but yeah, I knew that there's a creature like that.
Inside its mouth, it has these horrifying finger-shaped grabbers.
I like this, but it doesn't make sense.
Whoever designed this one gets an A+, but for all of the worst reasons possible. And here I suspect we have another look in or around Vault 32.
I also like that she has something sticking in her eye. It looks like a fork.
Be another one-eyed person, but for a very different reason. Perhaps this character didn't want to do whatever the procedure that the Vault Overseer previously did and is now rebelling. And it looks like this character is using the Sten gun. This is one of the weapons that appeared in Fallout Tactics. And I think one of the scavengers we saw a bit earlier fighting Walton Goggins was also using the same weapon, but with some different modifications. And then we have this shot. We of course got some still images of this earlier in the week, but this looks absolutely stunning, but it isn't the Pridwin. This is actually going to be known as the Kasawan, another Brotherhood ship that is now on the west coast and likely modeled after the Pridwin. And I think this is the best example of how much more powerful the Brotherhood of Steel is. It seems like they have plenty.
Yeah, if you can mass produce these ships, that's pretty powerful. Admittedly, it's also completely moronic because, you know, one rocket and bam, it's gone. Good luck.
Plenty of manpower, a healthy military force, as well as tons of flying machines. We have heard from interviews how there are going to be pre-war scenes featuring the Ghoul, who is also known as Cooper Howard at this point, and now we're actually seeing one example of them. Here, of course, he's mounting his horse with LA crumbling in the background, and even in this wide shot, we can see what is likely the same horse off to the side galloping away. Cooper Howard has a daughter and...
Well, actually, it looks like he's galloping to it, but, you know...
a wife. We can see his daughter here, but the fact that the Ghoul is described as a gruesomely scarred Rough Rider who has a code of honor but also a ruthless streak makes me think that his daughter doesn't make it out of this one alive, and his wife probably doesn't either. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle this character, because of course we know he is at least 219 years old, and more realistically probably like 250, 260 years old. So overall for me, this trailer was absolutely incredible. Some of the CGI, particularly around the Rad Roach, did look a bit unfinished, but hey, they've quite a few
I think the Rad Roach CGI look good.
months before the show is coming out and plenty of time to get that sorted. I think the overall identity of this show just feels perfectly like Fallout. You had violence, a destroyed radioactive world filled with monsters, but also the humor and some of the quirkiness that embodies the Fallout franchise super well. And when talking about the show broadly, the creators describe how they planned this as a Fallout 5. We didn't start from a place of characters from the games. We set things after. We kind of told ourselves this is Fallout 5. This is just another installation, and we're starting with fresh snow. And this quote is pretty exciting to me. Thus far, we have seen a lot of the familiar. The trailer is predominantly showing the Brotherhood is...
So, it looks interesting. It looks good in a lot of cases. But at the same time, I feel that there's a lot to be wary about. There's a lot of things that are just slightly, well, a lot questionable, honestly. I'm excited because it's a win-win. If it's good, it's good, and I'm gonna watch it. If it's bad, I'm gonna watch a couple of episodes of it and then make fun how absolutely horrible it is as everything that Bethesda touches or thinks about. So, you know, again, I think this is a huge win-win for everyone. So, that's kind of it. Anyway, that was our boy Juicy Head. Well, actually, it's Juice Head, but Juicy Head. That's our kink name, okay? You can't use it. Anyway. Pretty good stuff. Fallout TV series looks fine. Again, I'm excited. I think this has potential. I think this has easy potential to actually be good. Okay? It does have some red flags, but I don't think they're that big. I think a lot of these red flags that people are mentioning are kind of like, oh, it's not 100% lore accurate to the game that destroyed its own lore at every turn it has, and it has retconned absolutely, literally everything, how it works everywhere. Okay, so I also don't think that a TV series should follow the lore of the game 100%. I don't think anything should follow the lore of the original source material 100%. I think it should be like 90-80%, and then there needs to be a little bit of change. Because you can't perfectly adopt a book to a game and have it work. You can't adopt a game to a TV series and have it work. You can't adopt a TV series to a book and have it work perfectly. You need to make changes, decisions, because not everything in a game works for a TV show. Not everything in a book works for a game. So you need to do some changes. So again, I'm still like, I'm a 7 out of 10 on positivity on this thing currently. You know, but that 7 is like, it's hanging on for dear life at this point, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, Again, in any case, I think we win no matter how this ends. And this was Cruiser saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.